BJTs and FETs. All right. So BJTs are bipolar junction transistor. Bipolar junction transistors, and FETs are field effect transistor. Field effect transistors. Okay. So what I will do, side by side, let me list out the differences between the two, BJTs and FETs. Okay. Now, what do you mean by bipolar? Bipolar means bi means two, right? So basically in transistors, there are two charge carriers. There are two charge carriers. In a sense, there will be a flow of electron current and there will be a flow of hole current. Hole current in the sense the manner in which the electrons are getting filled in the vacant, space in the crystalline structure. Okay, so there are two currents, electron current and hole current. Okay, and which is majority and which is minority, it solely depends on the type of BJT you are going to use. So there are two types of BJTs, NPN and PNP. Okay, in case of NPN BJT, the majority charge carriers are electrons, and the minority charge carriers are holes. Okay, that's because there are two layers of N negative, right? On the other hand, in case of PNP transistors, majority charge carriers are holes and minority charge carriers are electrons. Okay, electrons. Now, if you look at, okay, that is one thing, and I can also bring one important aspect of BJT into your notice, that you can see that the currents are very, very important in case of BJT. So basically, BJT is a current control device. Current controlled device. Okay, that means to say by controlling IB, which is called as the base current, IC can be controlled. Okay, so this is true for common emitter mode. Okay, in case of common collector mode, it is the current directions are going to change. That is okay. You don't worry about it. Let me talk about common collector mode, common emitter mode, etc., in the upcoming discussions. Okay, so that's about BJT. So quickly let me recap. So in case of BJT, you have two types, right? NPN and PNP. NPN will have electrons as majority charge carriers and holes are the minority charge carriers in case of NPN. In case of PNP, it is vice versa. Okay, and the device conduction is governed by the base current. Okay, so it's a current control device. Okay, and base current is controlling the output current. All right, so that's about your BJT. On the other hand, if you look at your field effect transistors, field effect transistors are broadly classified into two types. Okay, one is junction JFET, junction field effect transistor, and the second type is MOSFET. Okay, so metal oxide semiconductor field effect transistor. Okay, more of it we will discuss when we reach module 5. Okay, and to some extent you have already studied about JFET and MOSFETs in basic electronics also. Okay, so what you can do is you can brush up some fundamentals regarding JFET and MOSFET. Okay, fundamentals as in you have to just concentrate on the device structure and probably the working of JFET and MOSFETs. Okay, so that is the classification. Now, in case of JFET and MOSFET, okay, anything you consider, either you will have a larger N channel or you will have a larger P channel. P channel. Okay, either you may have a larger N channel or you may have a larger P channel in the device structure. Device structure. Okay. Now, what is the meaning of this larger N channel and P channel? Okay. Now, by having a larger N channel, you know, the device current going to be the electron current. On the other hand, by having a larger P channel, okay, the device will have a current which is nothing but the whole current. Okay. If you have a P channel, you will have positive current, which is regarded as the whole current. For N channel, you will have electron current. Okay, so either you will have an electron current or you will have a whole current. So on that note, this can be called as unipolar device. Unipolar device. That is, the device conduction is not due to the combination of currents. The device conduction, it is due to only a single current, either electron current or whole current. So that's the major difference between your BJT and FET. Okay, BJT is bipolar and FET is unipolar. All right, so that is the another difference. Another difference is, yeah, over here. Let me put a star mark here. Another difference is about the conduction. Okay, so BJT is a current control device. On the other hand, FET is a voltage control device. Voltage controlled device. Okay, so that is when you apply a voltage across the input terminals, across the input, device gets into conduction. Device conduction. Okay, on the other hand, in case of BJT, I have already told you, by injecting a small base current, you know, you can initiate the flow of collector current. Okay, so BJT is current control device and FET is voltage control device. Okay, so these are the major differences between the two types of transistors. Okay, now the question is, one is voltage controlled and one is current controlled. So which one do we use in our physical systems and why? Can anyone type the answers? Which transistor is preferred over the other? Both are doing the same job. The only difference is the working difference, right? Except for working difference, you know, both the transistors can be operated as an amplifier, or you can also make them to work as a solid state switch. Okay. So which type of transistor we use in reality? Okay. Both transistors we will use. Okay, and the choice of the transistor usage solely depends on the purpose. Okay, the end use. Okay, normally, you know, your FET transistors are fast. They are very fast. Okay, in conduction. Okay, when I say conduction, I mean to say on and off. Okay, conduction as in on as well as off. Okay, that means to say you can quickly turn on the device as well as you can quickly turn off the device. So in case of FETs, especially in case of MOSFETs, you know, your turn on and turn off time will be in microsecond to nanosecond. All right, so quick they are, so fast they are. On the other hand, BJTs are slightly slower. Okay, they are slower in the sense the turn on and turn off time normally varies in millisecond to microsecond. Okay, so nanosecond is negligibly small, right? The moment you give an on pulse, the device straight away gets into conduction. Okay, so this is one of the major difference. Oh, so imagine the application of electric vehicles in which the vehicle should be changed from, say, forward motoring mode to reverse motoring mode in order to enable the reverse movement. So in such scenarios, a device which is very faster in nature is always advantageous to have. All right. So in very critical applications, they go for MOS. Okay, and of course, it comes at a cost. They are costlier MOSFETs, and BJTs are cheaper. Let me just give you an example. The BJT is what we use in our lab. Say, for example, SL100 costs somewhere about 15 bucks. Okay, 15 bucks. On the other hand, the FETs, what we use in our lab, cost somewhere about 250 bucks. Okay, that's the difference. You can make out. Okay, it's almost 2.5 times expensive than BJT. Okay, and very important nowadays. The world is going mad about energy saving, right? Which is very crucial also because energy demand is rising. So BJTs consume high power. Okay, you can say high power consumption. On the other hand, FETs consumes less power. In the sense, in lab, whenever we use BJTs, normally we give the DC voltage in the range of plus or minus 5 volt, plus or minus 12 volt, etc., etc. On the other hand, there are MOSFETs in which you can even trigger those MOSFETs with a voltage, okay, less than unity. Okay, even such devices are there. Okay, and less than unity is a very sophisticated MOSFET. Okay, if you don't want to consider that sophisticated MOSFET, you have MOSFETs, okay, in which they work on relatively lower power level, that is plus or minus 5 volts, plus or minus 3 volts. Okay, so power requirement for MOSFET is less compared to BJT. Okay, so these are the major differences between MOSFET and BJTs. Okay, so MOSFET wins the competition over BJT majorly on two aspects. Okay, it requires relatively lower power level to operate. Okay, and it has a very good switching characteristics. That means to say the device can be made on and off within a fraction of a second. Okay, so these are the winning criteria for MOSFETs. Okay, nevertheless, we are still using BJTs because of its simplicity in designing the control circuits, as well as they are very cost effective. Okay, so for not critical applications or not so important applications, you can continue to use BJTs. Okay, all right. So these are the major differences. All right. So that's the first part of the introduction. Okay, differences between MOS and BJTs. Okay, now let me come to the device symbol. Okay, now I will not talk about FETs. FETs, I'm going to talk only in module 5 henceforth. All right. So symbol. Since you have two types of BJTs, hence we can draw two symbols for BJT. Okay. This is base, emitter, and collector. So emitter current is outward, so it is NPN. All right. Then also you have PNP transistor. Emitter, collector, and base. In case of PNP transistor, the current direction is inward. Okay, the current direction is inwards. So that's your device symbol. Apart from device symbol, you can also mark the current directions. Okay, for NPN transistor, okay, NPN transistor, this is how we put the current directions. Okay, first what you do is you put the direction of emitter current. Okay, emitter current. And emitter, in case of transistor, your emitter current is equal to summation of the remaining two currents. All right, remaining two currents. If the emitter current, has to be outbound, then the remaining two currents needs to be inbound. It's kind of this. Okay, so this is base and this is collector. Okay, probably the equivalent circuit looks something like this. Okay, so this is kind of your emitter node. This is your base and this is your collector. This is IB, this is IC. So IB plus IC will flow out as IE. Okay, this is not the exact equivalent circuit. Just for your understanding, I have drawn this equivalent circuit. Okay, KCL basically we are applying there. Okay, on the other hand, in case of PNP transistor, okay, as you can clearly observe, the emitter terminal will have an arrowhead which is pointed inwards. So the current direction should be along the arrow direction. Okay, so in this case what happens, emitter current enters and it is going to split into two parts, a small base current and a larger portion of the emitter current will flow out as the collector current. Okay, and the equivalent circuit probably drawn something like this. Okay, let me take this as node E, this is B and this is C. Okay, so the inward current is the emitter current and it is going to split into two components, the base current and the collector current. Okay, so that's about the device symbol. Okay, now while drawing the device symbol, what I have done is I have drawn three currents, right? I've drawn IE, IC and IB. Okay, now what are these three currents? The three currents are the currents which will flow from their respective semiconductor layers. In the sense, if I consider the junction structure of, let's say, PNP transistor, sorry, NPN transistor, NPN. Okay, you will have N layer, and then you will also have, okay, just a minute. Okay, so in the device structure, what you have is larger portion of the junction is taken by the two N layers. Okay, and the smaller portion is taken by the P layer. Okay, and the device structure is such a way that the outer two layers, that is outer N layers, okay, will have high doping. Doping is nothing but a process in which the impurities are added to the semiconductor device in order to enhance the conducting properties. All right. So doping level in the outer two layers is very high compared to the middle layer, due to which what happens is that let me just erase this part. Okay, yeah. Due to which what happens is that, okay, so let's say this is base terminal, this is collector terminal, this is emitter terminal. Due to high doping, your collector current and emitter current levels are very high compared to base, base current. Okay, and which is also true because your base layer is thin and highly pure. Okay, what do you mean by highly pure? Highly pure meaning is very less doping. Okay, that's the meaning of purity. Okay, very less doping, and that's the reason your base current going to be very small in comparison with the emitter and collector current. Okay, so as I already mentioned, for a NPN transistor, emitter current is nothing but summation of collector current and base current. And for again PNP transistor, once again emitter current is equal to collector current plus base current. Okay, now whether it is emitter current or whether it is collector current in analog electronics, okay, I'm talking about only analog electronics. Analog electronics is a branch of electronics wherein we deal with very low levels of current. Okay, in power electronics we deal with very high values of current. So in analog electronics, the normal or the usual range for emitter and collector current is in the range of millis of amperes. Okay, on the other hand, the base current normally you will find it in the range of micros of amperes. Okay, so you can make up. Okay, you can say that milliampere is roughly say 1,000 times stronger than your micros of amperes. Okay, so that's about the current levels in transistors. Okay, fine. Is it okay? Any doubts so far? If you have any doubts, just let me know. Can anyone confirm?
It's clear, sir.
Yes, sir.
Fine. So fine. So having discussed about the different types of transistor currents, probably now I can take up the modes of operation. Modes of operation. Okay. Now, what do you mean by modes of operation? Okay. So modes of operation is nothing but the manner in which the three terminals of the transistors are connected. The manner in which the three terminals connected. Now, if you observe carefully the device structure, the transistor device is consisting of three terminals. All right. Now, out of these three terminals, any one terminal can be made common to both the input circuit and the output circuit. So listen carefully. You have three terminals. Out of three terminals, you can take one terminal, okay, in such a way that that particular terminal is common to input circuit as well as output circuit. Now the question is, which terminal you are going to keep it common for both the input circuit as well as output circuit? Can I say you keep emitter terminal as the common terminal? Not necessary. Someone can say that you keep collector terminal as the common terminal. So in this basis, okay, you can have kind of three different types of modes of operation. Okay, so the first mode is the common emitter mode, popularly known as CE mode. Okay, so CE stands for one. I will write it is common emitter. Okay, what is the meaning of common emitter? The emitter terminal is common for both the input circuit as well as the output circuit. Okay, so the circuit, goes like this. So in case of common emitter, what we do is emitter terminal is taken as the common terminal for input circuit as well as output circuit, and the collector terminal is taken as the output terminal. The base terminal is taken as the input terminal. Okay. I'll not connect any resistors. Do you want me to connect any resistors? Okay, let me connect. So these resistors are meant for controlling the current, that's all. Okay, I'll not mention what is the value of resistance. That is immaterial to us. Okay, and in case of output circuit, now you will have, okay, this is some VBB and this is some VCC, DC power supply. Okay, they are nothing but the biasing sources. Okay, I'll not talk about biasing now. Okay, this is what is the common collector connection looks like. Okay, so this is your input circuit. Okay, and this is your output circuit. Okay, and this is the base current direction. Okay, along the battery it flows. Similarly, the collector current follows the battery convention. So this is how the collector current is going to flow, and in the end the emitter current going to be the summation of base and collector current. So this is your common emitter mode. Okay, input circuit and output circuit. Now, all right, the circuit diagram we have constructed. Okay, now let you please tell me what is your input current and what is your output current. Can you quickly tell me what is your input current and what is your output current? What is your input current? This is your input terminal. Hence, input current has to be the base current. Okay. On the other hand, the output current should be, written down on the basis of output terminal. Output terminal is the collector terminal. This is your output terminal. And the output current is the collector current. I'm facing some problems with the laptop. My screen is flickering. Okay, fine. Now it is fine. Okay. Now, on the basis of input and output current, a very important factor can be derived. That is called as the current gain. It is called as current gain. And current gain is defined as the ratio of output current to input current. Okay. So output current is collector current and the input current is the base current. Base current. Okay, so which is equal to IC by IB. Okay, and that is taken as beta. That is taken as beta. All right. Okay. Now, your IC, normally it will be in the range of millis of amperes. It will be in the range of millis of amperes, and your IB will be in the range of micros of amperes. Okay, say for example, this is 2 milliampere, and say this is 2 microamperes. Okay, so when you take out the ratio, what do you get? You get beta is equal to 2 milli, that is 2 into 10 to the power minus 3 divided by, sorry, I'm so sorry, 10 to the power minus 6 it should have been, right? No, correct. Divided by 2 into 10 to the power minus 6. Okay, so what do you get? You get beta is equal to 10 to the power 3. Okay, 10 to the power 3. To the power 3. So beta is very high. Beta is very high. Okay. So that's about your common emitter configuration. Okay. So next up we have common base configuration. So next we have okay. In case of common base configuration, okay, I think now you have understood the technique. The base terminal is made as common. Something like this you can draw. This is your base. Okay. The emitter will be the input terminal, and the collector going to be the output terminal. Okay, and this is how the connection is made. Okay, this is NPN. So N is connected to negative and opposite terminal is positive. Similarly, this is N. So this is negative terminal of the battery and this is positive terminal of the battery. Okay. And emitter current will be in this direction. Okay. And this is your collector current. This is your base current. Okay. Now, in case of common base configuration, as you can clearly observe that this is your input circuit and this is your output circuit. Okay. Now, in case of input circuit, the input current going to be the emitter current and the output current going to be the collector current. Okay, collector current. So therefore, the current gain, okay, alpha for common base configuration, it is called as alpha. Okay, is defined as ratio of output current to the input current. Okay, now what's the output current? Collector current. And what is the input current? Emitter current, right? And this, let me write capital. So your collector current and emitter current, okay, your IC is approximately equal to IE. That's because your base current is very small. Okay, so IC is approximately equal to IE, hence you can write IC divided by IC. So So approximately you will get your current gain equal to unity. Okay. So practical values of alpha is somewhere from 0.95 to 0.99. Okay, that is because your IC is less than IE. Okay, because you know that IE is IB plus IC. Okay, emitter current is slightly greater than the collector current. Okay, so that's the reason, since emitter current is coming in the denominator, so obviously the ratio will be very close to unity. Ideally unity, but practically it will be very close to unity. So the normal range is 0.95 to 0.99. Okay, and the final configuration what we have is common collector. Common collector. In case of common collector configuration, the collector terminal is made common to the input circuit as well as the output circuit. Okay, so this is your collector terminal, base terminal, and this is your emitter terminal. All right. So this is N, P, N. So base current, collector current, okay, and this is your emitter current. So base and collector current adds up and will flow out as the emitter current. Okay. So in case of common collector, okay, the input terminal is base and the output terminal is the emitter. Hence, the current gain, okay, denoted by gamma, which is I naught by II. Okay. So what is I naught? I naught is IE. Okay, and the input current II is IB. Okay, so it is IE divided by IB. As I've told in the beginning, IE normally flows in the range of millis of amperes, and IB normally flows in the range of micros of amperes. So that's the reason your gain alpha is very high. Okay, so all right, so we have three possible modes, and the three modes will give different current gains. So that's the reason the current gains in transistors are normally denoted by either alpha, beta, or gamma. Alpha for common base, beta for common emitter, and gamma for common collector, CC. Okay, just to distinguish the three currents, because in three configurations the current ratios are different. So since you are getting different current ratios, hence the different Greek letters have been used to denote the three currents. Okay. Now, why do we need these three modes? Why not stick on to only one single mode? Okay. The main objective of the different modes is to get different transistor characteristics. Okay, if you look at your common emitter mode, okay, common emitter mode as well as common base mode, they are widely used in amplification. Okay, amplification. So amplification is a process in which the low signal strength of the incoming signal is enhanced to a larger value. So basically it increases the signal strength. Okay. On the other hand, your common collector is not used as an amplifier. Instead, it is used as an isolator. Okay. This isolator, it is also called as buffer amplifier. Okay, so this buffer amplifier will have AV is equal to voltage gain. Okay, AV is taken as voltage gain and AI is taken as current gain. Okay, voltage gain, it gives voltage gain almost equal to unity. That means to say, if your input signal is 1 millivolt, your output signal is also 1 millivolt. So it doesn't do amplification, but it does the job of an isolator. Isolator in the sense, it isolates input and output circuit, just like your transformer. Okay, you remember your transformer. Your transformer is magnetically coupled device. Okay, so input of the transformer is connected to the source and output of the transformer is connected to the load. Okay, now if in case some problems have occurred in the input circuit, okay, those problems will not percolate or will not be found on the output circuit because they are not connected by wires. Okay, so that is the biggest advantage of transformer. If there is any fault in the input circuit, okay, the output circuit can be safeguarded. Similarly, the buffer amplifiers are kind of an alternative for a transformer. Transformer is very heavy and bulky, hence the usage is not so recommended in electronic circuits. So in place of transformer, what you can use is a buffer amplifier, okay, which gives unity gain, but it gives isolation between input circuit and output circuit. If your input circuit, let's say it suffers from, let's say, some unintentional short circuit, your output circuit will be protected. Okay, so for that purpose it is used. On the other hand, CB and CE can be used for amplifiers. Okay, your CE mode, okay, your CE mode gives 180-degree phase shift. Phase shift between Vi and V0. So if your input is something like this, your output will be an inverted signal. Okay, something like this it is going to be. So this is called as phase shift. That means to say, what is the duration of positive half cycle is 180 degree. So for the 180 degree duration of positive half cycle, you are getting 180 degree duration of negative half cycle. So that's the reason the phase shift is called as 180 degree. On the other hand, CB gives 0 degree phase shift. Phase shift. Okay. You may ask, this gives 0 degree, this gives 180 degree. So why not go for the circuit which gives 0 degree phase shift? Okay, but there are some differences. The differences mainly the input and output impedances. Okay, in case of common base, the input impedance is very low and the output impedance is very high. Okay, on the other hand, in case of common emitter, input impedance is moderate and output impedance is also moderate. Okay, very low means in few ohms, very high means up to few mega ohms. Moderate means will be in some kilo ohms, and moderate means will be in some kilo ohms. Okay.